The Time Heroes of the Year recognizes those who protect what we hold dear. And there is nothing more cherished than life and the connections we make with others. As the world began to reunite in 2021, we look back and hail a life-saving vaccine as miraculous. But we must also reflect on the years, decades even, that laid the groundwork for this historic breakthrough. There is no such thing as an overnight success in science or medicine. But thanks to the tremendous effort from these 4 visionary scientists, this was truly a case of the right solution coming at the perfect time. The Time Heroes of the Year are Kizzmekia Corbett, Barney Graham, Katalin Kariko, and Drew Weissman.
I think vaccines are misunderstood, and maybe it's because it seems like magic. That simplicity and the mystery of it is something that ends up creating a lot of skepticism.
People are fooled by the speed.
Everything that we knew when it was time to design a vaccine for COVID-19, we knew for so long, but the public had just become aware of it.
If this would happen 2 years ago, we would not be ready. Saying that happened overnight, it took 2-3 decades at least.
2021 was the year when so many praised the miracle of vaccine development. In science, there is hardly ever a simple quick fix, but this was truly a moment of the right fix, a brand new kind of vaccine technology at exactly the right time.
I started out in math and I moved to biology, and after medical school, I saw one of the first cases of HIV in Tennessee back in 1982. And so the first part of my career was trying to understand the immunology of vaccine-enhanced disease and trying to make vaccines safer.
I got interested in science when I was 16 years old. I was hooked on the idea that you could go to work and discover something that no one else in the world knows on any given day.
It seems at 16 I thought that maybe I will be a scientist. I was always working with mRNA, for 30 years at least, and I was never wanted to develop vaccine. I wanted to develop it for therapy.
When I first came to Penn from the NIH, pure luck hit, where I met Katie Kariko over a Xerox machine, and she told me she worked on RNA and she could help us with our vaccine. Every experiment doesn't work, every hypothesis isn't good. It was a continuous flow of negative feedback, but we saw the potential of the RNA, and neither of us would give up.
Although mRNA can teach our cells to fight infection, it took Doctors Kariko and Weissman 16 years to figure out how to use it safely in a vaccine.
First, when I made this RNA, actually I did not tell Drew Weissman, my colleague, because I thought that maybe I mixed up something. So I repeated the experiment, and we could see that there was no inflammation in human cells.
We're both scientists. We're not baseball players who cheer when we hit a home run. We knew that it had great potential, but what we thought about is, what are we going to do with it?
Meanwhile, Doctors Corbett and Graham spent years unlocking the structural secrets of viruses.
One of the really important problems in coronaviruses that had not been solved is really simple. What does the coronavirus really look like to the immune system? And to figure that out, you have to be able to take a really high definition picture of the proteins that are on the surface of the coronavirus.
And then do some protein engineering to stabilize the structure.
At that moment, you realize that you have almost what is a universal strategy for creating a vaccine for coronaviruses.
A mysterious respiratory illness with similarities to SARS has healthcare workers around the world on alert.
What we said to each other, all we need is a sequence and we're ready to go. We can make a vaccine in weeks and get it into people very quickly. The fact that we made a vaccine in 10 months and has the potential to end this pandemic will certainly stand out.
Do it, Mama.
Do it, Mama.
Most scientists never get to see a product actually used. And to watch the evening news and see the relief on healthcare providers getting immunized, those were special moments.
I also get emotional when I get a letter from an elderly home, and they reported that they received the vaccine. There were like 200 elderly in that home, and nobody died.
On social media, when children were going back to visiting their grandparents again, seeing people reunited in that way, it was a very surreal moment.
A surreal moment, and definitely worth celebrating, if only briefly before a return to work. These scientists are now trying to apply their game-changing discoveries to other diseases, influenza, even cancer. A brand new way to make a healthier, more equitable world.